This has some special conditions to it. Right now I'm waiting for my ride because I'm going to be late to work. Yeah, I wanted to record something with similar conditions yesterday, but literally as soon as I pulled out my phone, the bus arrived. And I knew it. I knew that was going to happen. But right now, if you know, the bus doesn't run on weekends, and the person who usually comes, that other person who usually comes to pick me up, I'm pretty sure just got preoccupied with other things. They're, so I'm being sent in Uber at the moment, essentially. And let's see, pick up in 12 minutes. I got 12 minutes to have some fun and say some things. So, yeah, this will be today's journal. Yesterday, had some fun working on, well, almost doing D&D that is done on Fridays. But it ended up not happening. But you know, it hasn't happened for the past while of Fridays, past collection of Fridays. But you know what? Every single time it gets a little more refined, and we're more prepared, more prepared to do it if we needed to. And I'll tell you what, it'll be great when we actually start. You know, it'll be fantastic. But yeah, no, it didn't end up happening yesterday. But you know, even though that didn't happen, me and my one very good friend, we still hung out and had some fun. Continued doing some stuff in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Made some actual progress. And I myself recently just felt that compulsion, finally, to play some video games. I popped out an old console of mine and just started playing games, all on my own. I was thinking to myself, you know, I gotta do recording and all that, you know, and I was just like, no, hold on. Just because, you know, not all of this has to be for that, you know? Sometimes it is just nice to do something for yourself and, you know, not necessarily have to perform or try to be interesting or say things. So, once I realized that, I just sat down, started playing video games. What I wanted to do really was start writing. And again, but I had hit like somewhat of a wall, and I learned my lesson, you know, trying to force creativity through fatigue creates that high friction relationship, creates creative avoidance later. So I just told myself, you know, it'll be a good thing if you leave yourself with something to want to come back to later. Build up that desire in the background. But right now, you've been working. You just did a soundtrack. You went straight into writing. You got a good amount into writing, at least like 75%. And you've just been going, staring at a computer screen. Just nonstop action, you know? And, you know, you need to do something else. You need to just stop and go enrich yourself for a second. And then I got this really, really strong urge to play video games. And it was the day after I recorded my last journal, too. Maybe that was what did it. It just helped me to kick back into gear. But I just felt it. And you know what? The moment I sat down and grabbed that controller and started playing and engaging my imagination and myself, not having to make anything, but just engaging. It's like that. It just felt right. Everything kind of fell into place all of a sudden. It's just like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is good. This is the right thing right now. Just like a big weight off. and I could feel my mind, just sort of repairing itself, sort of hitting that healing process. I felt a lot clearer afterwards, a lot more cleaner, so to speak, I guess you could say. More clarity. And I was very pleased. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what there is to say about that. I actually played video games of my own recognizance, which is nice. And it was fun. It was really fun. Something I could engage with, creatively, like put myself into it for a second, engage with it, give it my attention, my mind, my imagination, my energy, my effort, but not having to create the thing myself from the ground up, but just having an outlet for putting my mind to work doing something, I don't know what the exact thing is. I feel like I'm circling around the explanation for it, but something about that was very healing, and I'm very glad that I did it. But yeah, the main spot that got me, that I hit, and you know what? Also, a previous thing I mentioned is that, like, did I mention it? I don't know. That journal was so long ago, but, the shadow work and things like that, just taking structured rest or restful activities. I was glad that I wasn't just like, it was nice to do something that wasn't just like lying around or taking a nap or sleeping. When I'm rested enough and I've taken that, purposeful nap, that rest, and then I get up and I go to try to write, and then all of a sudden I feel like I'm tired all over again, and like I never slept or rested, feeling more like a nervous system with a spine. I don't really feel, in those moments, I don't feel human anymore. I just feel like a brain with a nervous system and a spine and a bunch of nerves just reacting to impulses, Stuff like that, when I get like that, I'm just like, okay, there's something I'm missing here. And gotta look for something of an anchor and bring me back. And that was it. That was really something. But the main thing that I kind of, and right when I got tired too, the main thing I brushed up against right as I got tired was this particular spot in the writing with character dialogue. Basically, it was the first time I really brushed up against, how is this character supposed to talk and convey themselves? And, after that moment, I did a whole bunch of research. Just trying to figure out what kind of direction, and then that wasn't tiring. Like, that was, but it was the fact that, like, the moment I went back to open the page, and then just like, whoa, woof, I am tired right now. Suddenly fatigued and kind of hazy and like, not great. I mean, I even felt that a little bit while I was researching, but again, research is easier to do. It's lower pressure to do than, writing and creating from scratch. I had the ability to, I had enough energy to research, ask the questions, put links together like that creatively, but not enough to actually just start start crafting the sort of, like, from the ground up type stuff. And maybe from the ground up is a little too exaggerated because, that's why tropes exist. It's why patterns exist, previous examples. And that's kind of what I was looking for as well. Just looking for something that could, because, what I'm writing I'm not reinventing the wheel or anything. Sometimes what you've done is a premise other people have done or written or came up with. I mean, it happens all the time. So I was just looking for something that could kind of push me in the right direction when it came to that specific character's dialogue. But I did find the direction that I was looking for. I did find it. And I'm pretty much ready to... Oh, hello, Ken. Hold on. I gotta drop some food for my kittens. For my cats. Hello, you. Oh, yes. Okay. ETA in 4 minutes. Okay, you guys. I'll be back. Let me turn on the AC for them. Put it on auto mode. It's going to be a hotter type day. Let me go ahead and close this window so no UV beams shoot through and heat up the house monumentally. There we go. That should do it. And then go ahead and put the AC on auto. Make sure it's got the snowflake icon. There we go. Okay. But anywho, yeah, so I did find the direction for the character's dialogue to go in, and I'm pretty much ready to get it going again. Yeah, but me and my one very good friend, speaking of, before I forget, I've only got 4 minutes left. Speaking of, me and my one very good friend, I showed him my method for map making, which leads to narrative design, which leads to, other things, so on and so forth. But I showed him, you make a list of your most mandatory landmarks. You figure out you place it down. First off, you just place it down. So he placed down the town that he wanted, and then I was just like, okay, so when you first get your people to arrive, what exactly is their relationship to this place? First off, how are they arriving? Secondly, are they strangers or native? And how far do you want them to travel to get from is the first spot their origin point, or do they have to travel to get to essentially what is the main hub? And then we discussed that. So he placed down the main town, and then placed down like a port. And then I was like, okay, what's the distance between the two? And then, he moved them kind of closer. And then I was like, okay, well, if there's a port here, ports rest on the water. So there's naturally going to be a coastline or some kind of beach or, waterfront here. And then we quickly came up with okay, so we're going to put it won't be like a sandy beach. It'll be like big stones that form like a breakwater around this edge, and the town's more inward from that. Okay, there we go. And so we had like a breakwater beach that sort of spanned a small area, and then there's a port, and then of course, that means that there should probably be a lighthouse. And so he placed down the lighthouse next to the port, and then created a road that led from the lighthouse to the town. And then we thought about, okay, so what should be in the town? What are you thinking? And okay, a house for this character, a forest here, a ruin there, where this character lives, And then let's see. This town is by the water. There's probably people who who go fishing, and they'll, you know what, they'll have like gardening too, and like, okay, at the port we'll put like a customs type office to vet people who come in and out. Ah, okay, so then it expanded there, and then at the beachfront with these large rocks here, we'll put one that's an unusual shape, and that could be like a quest thing for later. Or this one in particular actually has a hole in it. It's a cave, and then that became its own thing. And the lighthouse. Oh, the lighthouse is powered by these things, and slowly, like it was practically just kind of writing itself. A story was slowly coming together, just as we were thinking about, just as just from there we go, just from thinking about placing these spots, their relationships to each other, just kind of figuring out the dynamic of this one very small area, not creating the shape of the whole land or region, just focusing specifically on, this one area first, this one spot first, and allowing it to sort of build. And by the end, we were presented with this very, okay, I gotta go. But by the end, we were presented with this very charming, naturalistically shaped coastline and inland area that will slowly move and go upward, and it has like a cool lighthouse. Yeah, it had like a real proper look to it. But yeah, okay, I gotta go now. But that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about for right now. Okay, see you later.